Right into this. Our topic today is don't forget to fall in love with yourself first. And I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So we have Lucy, and we also have Wayne for us, who's a special guest with us today for this recording. So what we're going to do is we'll just do a little bit of an introduction, and we'll just kind of go with the flow. We'll hear from Lucy, and then we're going to introduce Wayne a little bit further. So again, our topic is don't forget to fall in love with yourself first. Because when you truly love yourself, your entire life improves. Your own divinity, your energy, your being loved journey. Bring the scattered parts of yourself together and come to know self, uncovered and loved as is. And it's within this uncovering is the flow of grace. It is there to help us forge our direction and to forgive and correct ourselves. Yes, there's a lot of conditioning and programming that we've experienced. We've been burdened with negative experiences and opinions, you know, such as men are like this and women are like that. And we've learned to be afraid of an open heart. So the first love has to be granted to ourselves. So why is it so difficult to love yourself? Well, there's many reasons. We could probably do many series on why it's so difficult. But one of the, I guess what I've experienced is one of the most profound reasons is we have a belief that self-love is the same as being selfish or egotistical. And it's an old belief system that goes back generations, you know, even passed down to us by our ancestors. It's kind of like in our DNA. So taking yourself out of a belief rarely, it can be difficult and require constant, almost exhausting attention. And beliefs are stored in the subconscious mind, and talking yourself out is a conscious mental activity. Plus takes focus, taking focus out of on what's wrong and making it bigger. So clearing self-sabotaging beliefs and inner programs from your subconscious mind is quick and life-changing when it's the correct process. And this is part of my daily practice, and it's so empowering. And it has been my commitment over the last few years to do that inner work on a regular basis. The reward, well, recognizing that grace is a natural state of being could not be more rewarding. Feeling the love for yourself radiating within you, around you, creates an inviting field of grace, and that's where miracles can occur. So I'd like to introduce Lucy again, and allow Lucy to potentially talk about, you know, her journey with self-love, you know, potentially, you know, how she works with her clients, etc. So Lucy.
Hello, Sandy.
Hi.
Thank you. For me, it keep a long time for loving myself. Maybe more than 40 years, because I know present. What I learned this year, I need to be present. I all the time busy for the kids, for husband, for the house. I don't stop anytime. But I know present. I am not here. I need grounding myself nearly every day. Enjoy more my kids, give more time. And what I learn involve, I find my greater happiness, peace in my mind, and then love more myself first. you can create self-love and happy in your life. So the more you happy, more happy become. And every morning I ask universe surprise me. And every morning I grateful for I have a life here, because it's so beautiful. You here for learning love, unconditional love every day. Every day is different, because not easily, but if you have love yourself first, is sometimes you need to decide where you go. You need to say that's lighter or heavy. If you heavy, it's not your path, because the life need to be easily, you need to be light. You can ask for this for anything in your life. Can be when you buy one car, clothes, anything. That's light, yes, it's for you. If you're heavy, no. Same for relationship or anything in your life. And then you can share with them for others, because when you're happy, your heart spending, you other people ask, what you doing? No, you look more lighter, you look more different, because you know more you. When you do the meditation, when you don't put too much toxin in your body, because sometimes you worry too much about it, and you put toxin in your body too. Yeah. And sometimes you live in this anxiety of mind, and the hours program create this negative thought. Once you change your thinking, you and your perception, and they have a greatest awareness, you can actually move it beyond them. Oh, they are not, that's not real. Sometimes you say, oh, it's very hard, everything, my job is hard, my boss don't like me. But when you change it here, you change everything. Because you just program, you create this program called brain. No, some people just get addictive on this chemical, get it create from their worries or their anxieties, and the anger, it's like a drugs. Let's move out of those addictive that don't serve us anymore. And that did say become addictive to your souls, for your God. You need to connect more what you call God, your source. You need to listen more what you want to say for you. You need more your what you be here and there. If you don't be here just for work, have kids, you need more than that. You need to know you're here for serve other people. You need to know you're here for be happy. You don't need to be painful or sick. When you know more you, when you more love yourself. Yeah. Let's find this joy and love and the peace, and take a deep breath. That's very important. Take a deep breath, because you release something. If you're difficult in your life, something, just take a deep breath and follow the lighter, the hard.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you, Lucy. And I would actually love to take this opportunity as well to share a teaching from a good friend I work with. Her name's Denise. I can post what she wrote up on the page after our call. Denise is a gifted writer and teacher. We've been working together on shadow work for several years now, and I had talked to her about our topic, and she wrote this. So I'm gonna read it, and then we're gonna go into the introduction to Wayne. So It's called Inside Out. And she wrote, as we are led out of the darkness towards the light, our fear is transformed into love by love. Ego loses its hold on us, and we are freed from the chains that bound us to this elusive physical world. We come to know that we have been living in an ever-changing external world created by the projection of our thoughts, appearing real only because our mind believe it to be. And so we turned inward to that place that is our true home, our heart space, where our true self lives. It is there where we come to realize that when we are the cause of our internal world, we are no longer at the effect of the external world. We begin to live fully from our heart center, and there is the true pathway home. In the process, we learn this truth. All that truly real is unchangeable, eternal, as is the light of God. Our perception of ourself as separate from it all changes to a knowing that we are one with it all. We remember our oneness and all of creation, and suddenly the reason we are here becomes very clear. Living from the inside out instead of the outside in, we begin our service to the world. We are here to love and to be loved, shining that love outward, illuminating the pathway for others to find their way. And she spoke about her personal journey, about when we learn to love ourselves, we start to live our lives from the inside out instead of the outside in. And there came a point for her when she realized that most of her life she was looking at herself and seeing herself through the eyes of others. And what she was seeing, and more importantly, who she was being, was not real or true. Instead, it was a montage of the years of conditioning and the beliefs acquired from that conditioning that had told her that who she was supposed to be, what she was supposed to do, and how she was supposed to look. And she had stated that she'd become a character in someone else's story instead of the author of her own. And she shared that during most of her earlier life, she believed that she was being punished with awful experiences, thinking she was a bad person, and made choices then that she thought she had to be perfect so that she would be loved, so that others would love her. And she buried those experiences in a very deep and dark place and tried to be someone who thought others would love, and continually tried to prove to others that she was worthy of love. And she never realized that the love that she was so desperately seeking would come from within her, and that no matter what, she was always and always worthy of God's loving grace. And it was the uncovering of that profound knowing that transformed her life. And I thought that was such a powerful teaching to kind of share, because really it is about looking outward for validation, for love. And it's so important to share, to move forward, to shed those beliefs and conditionings that we all have, from early years on. And so I'd like to move forward now, introducing a very special guest who can talk to this on a deep level, and this is Wayne Forrest. And so just to tell you a little bit about Wayne Forrest is an international transformational speaker, passionate educator, and a highly sought after change coach, certified by the Life Mastery Institute in LA. He is a husband, a father, grandfather, and farmer who grew up in the community of, I can't even say the name, Wayne, but you can correct me, but it starts with a P. Porang Bahuhi. Oh, I probably messed that one up pretty good. In New Zealand. So Wayne says his rugby accident in 1995 was the catalyst for his ongoing journey into self-awareness and personal development, which has given him the incredible life that he loves and is very grateful for. He is the co-creator of CHB Swim for Lives nonprofit, which supports local schools in doing deep water programs to help save lives from drowning. And Wayne shares his journey from the heart to enable others to believe that they can build and live into their dreams and live a life they love. So I would like to, perhaps ask Wayne to really talk a little bit more about his journey and his pathway to self-love, because I think there's going to be some powerful teachings within what he has to say. So,
thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Lucy. And the little place is called Porongaho. So it is a bit of a tongue twister. It's very close to the longest. There's a hill there that's got the longest place name in the world, and please do not ask me to say it. Tracy might be able to sing it. Maybe at the end, maybe we can get someone to sing it for us. She's shaking her head. So yes, my journey, it started on the outside. It would have looked quite perfect, or not perfect, but it would have looked like I had it all together. I was running 2 businesses at the time of my accident, and I was married. I had a couple of beautiful twin daughters, or still have got twin daughters, but at the time they were 15 months old. They are now 26, so you can do the math. And we're very social. We belong to a local rugby club, and so on the weekends there'd be a game every weekend, and it was very social as well. So I was quite often recognised for being player of the day, and there was a part of me that had to be the best at everything, I had to be the best farmer. I had to be the best sheep shearer, which were my 2 businesses. I had to be the best rugby player. I had to be the last man standing in the pub. In other words, I had to drink everyone else under the table. I had this mentality, and I ask myself now why, and of course it was because I didn't really feel enough inside me, and I was heading for a car crash or a head-on, and I had a head-on. I literally hit the dirt in a rugby game and head first, and dislocated my neck. And a few days later, I woke up in hospital feeling very vulnerable, very scared. I couldn't do anything. I'd lost the ability to even stand, pardon my pun, but even wipe my own bottom. I couldn't do anything for myself. So all of a sudden, I went from this very physical person with quite a large ego of being the best physically, to not being able to do anything for myself. I could still drink, and I definitely drank for the first 5 years, probably far too much. But that was, I look back now and I realize that could have quite easily just made me bury myself under the covers and let life come to me. But that didn't actually enter into my head. Straight away, I was like, okay, what can I create? What can I do with what I have? And and some, I don't know if that's luck or if that's just design, but that set me on the path of creating a vision. And I suppose that's the first step for our listeners, for me to help create a bit more self-worth is if you've got a vision to start to live into, that you start to have a little wins. And on the way to that vision, you have those wins and you start to feel a bit better about yourself, which this happened for me. And within a couple of years, or 5 years, I had created a vision of running from a wheelchair. And it took me 2 years to get strong enough to drive. But once I had achieved that, it's that was a win. And all of a sudden I had a bit of independence. I could drive wherever I wanted, but I also could get around the farm. And when I started to get around the farm, I started to be able to do more and more and more. And within 5 years, with the help of a lovely young lady, which is now my wife, my marriage split up in that process. Because I was a different person. I was starting to grow. And my wife was married to the old person, my first wife. So things like this started to happen. And I was on a different path, and a path of growth. And so by setting that vision and creating that vision by 5 years, all of a sudden I realized, wow, it's not enough anymore. I have to, what else can I do? And I started to think about creating another vision. And this is when, by creating that vision, having something to move into, my life started to change, because the next vision was about creating outdoor activities with a charity. And the charity gave me two things. It helped me push through a fear of what might go wrong that I had created on this road of recovery. And because we were doing extreme outdoor activities like whitewater rafting and canoeing and abseiling and paragliding and scuba diving, and I've got no balance. My line is just above my tit line, so I've got no real movement under that line, and so I've got no balance. And all these extreme outdoor activities were mind-blowing. How was I going to achieve it? But I pushed through that fear and I did them anyway. And what came aware was that, wow, if you push through your fear, there's this amazing thing on the other side of it. Something great is going to happen. So my confidence started to grow by doing that. And the second thing that happened in these courses that I was doing with this charity was there was an element of being able to help someone else see that they were more capable. And sometimes they didn't have a physical disability. Sometimes it was just as a person that we call physically able. And so all of a sudden I felt better about myself, being able to help someone else. It took my mind off what I was going through, and that was a big part of starting to learn that I was enough. Because before my accident, I didn't. I was always trying to prove that I was enough. And in this process of having my accident and growing through having a vision, so that's a big part of it, is having a vision so you know where you're going. because on the way of achieving that vision, you achieve goals, and that starts to make you feel good. And then, of course, the second part of that was that helping someone else made me feel better. And that also started to make me realize that, hey, I am enough. And one thing I've heard in this work is, and I do it regularly myself, is look in the mirror and tell myself that I am enough. And that's been a constant practice for a number of years now. And if I ask for a show of hands, who can literally say that they stand in the mirror totally naked and say, is there anyone here that can put their hands up and say, I can do that? Listeners, if you really want to start to feel like you are enough, I think did everyone hear me then? My internet went a little bit funny, but
It
my
did
point
cut out
is,
for it cut out for a little bit, but I believe we got the point. Definitely. Thank you. This is wonderful. Keep going.
awesome. So, that, we must start to look in the mirror and love ourselves truly. And I got that actually from, is it Marissa Harris or Pierce? Marissa Pierce, who's got their quotation, and her mantra is, I am enough. It's great for females, but I think it's also great for males. We all have to. I think males are actually less likely to do it, and it's really important for both of us, both sexes, to stand in front of the mirror and look into our eyes and our body and say, I love you. I absolutely love you. And the more you do that, or find something that you can find that you love about that body, the better you're going to be. And you can't lie to yourself, right? So those parts of your body that you don't like, then find something you do like about them. Maybe it's a loyal bum instead of a fat bum. For me, it's my neck. I love my neck because I wouldn't be able to move my head, if I didn't have my neck. And why I say my neck is because that's where I dislocated my neck. This is where my injury is. So for me, it's really important to give my neck love and not say, oh, why didn't you hold my head when I dislocated it? So that's something I'm learning to do, is to give my neck love. It might be, I don't like my tummy. Well, find something you do like about it. What is it? Has it held your children? Honor it for that, or find something that you can really honor that body part for, because that is so powerful to learn to love it again, love our body, love ourselves, and by helping people, that was the beginning of when I started to feel good enough about myself that I could start looking and saying, hey, look, I feel better about myself helping people. And then that love started to grow. And then, of course, the more you grow, the more you find different people that resonate with different ideas about loving. Sandy, there's so many levels of the onion that we have. You know, the more you take a layer and love yourself, or you see yourself in a layer, there's another layer underneath, you know. And it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice to stand in front of the mirror and to keep working on finding that self-love. And I think this is where the vision is really important. And I mentioned that. The vision's number one, because with my clients, I ask them, what would they love to create? What would you love to do in any area of your life? And we pick something and we go for it, because it's really important to align that vision with the passion that we have to create. And I think we all have this longing or discontent that's pushing us and pulling us in life. So we all have, maybe it's relationships or health and well-being that we want to create a difference in, or it might be our job. We might have discontent in our job, or in our career, or so the four are health and well-being, relationships, our vocation, which is our job and career, and our time and money freedom. And I think we all have one area that we want to improve at any given time. And so the question is, and this is where the vision comes in, what would I love in my relationships or my health and well-being? And that, for me, is the universe pulling us to our purpose. If we really listen to it, there's this pull to create that thing that we love, which is also pulling us to what we should be doing in this lifetime. So once you've got that nice and clear, it also helps you grow with that self-love.
No, I agree. And I find what I've found is a lot of people struggle to identify what makes them happy, what they really love. They get stuck and even just thinking about those things. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a great question. But if we listen, and the secret is to get quiet. This is, you know, a lot of people use yoga, meditation to still the mind. And one great technique I use is finding 5 sounds, listening for 5 sounds, and naming them, and then looking for 5 things you can see that you don't normally see, and then your taste. What can you taste? And what's the 4th one? So you start to use the senses, and that brings you really present with your nice big breath. And I heard Lucy say the breath before, that lovely big, fill the lungs up, you know, the bottom of the stomach. If you do that first, and then even if the mind's still going flat out, look at those 5 senses, bring in the 5 things until you're nice and calm, and then ask the question, what would I love? What would I love for my relationships? And I'll tell you what, you'll come up with all sorts of ideas. And the secret is to write them all down and let that flow come. Just keep writing them down until that flow is stopped. And some of them might be really silly, like, crazy stuff like working at McDonald's, or, stuff that that you wouldn't like to do, but don't stop it. Don't stop the flow. Just keep writing them all down. And then picking one is quite easy, because if you look at all those ones that you've written down, one of them will jump off the page and make you smile. And it might be a little bit left field, but circle it anyway. Because more than likely, that is the thing that you need to go and do. That's what you need to investigate more. And that's one powerful way to find what you love. But you have to also be patient. It's something that you have to practice. But like Thomas Edison said, I think it was Thomas Edison said that for every question you have, there is an answer. And that comes into the spirituality side of things, of knowing that universe has got your back, and that you are connected to a higher power, whatever that is. That can be, like Lucy said, God, or infinite self, or it doesn't matter what it is for you, as long as you know that there is something that is pulling and pushing you to your purpose. So trust that and ask that question.
Thank you. Some great advice, especially for quieting the mind, because I feel a lot of people struggle with quieting the mind, which causes a lot of interference and blocks, and the mind creates very many stories, and it's just so that about the five senses, the senses, using the senses is very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So you've gone on quite an incredible journey to self-love, and I know that you, very much like myself, you are continually working on it and challenging yourself, and that's beautiful that we can continue to keep working on those areas, and just going higher and higher as far as loving ourselves, accepting ourselves. So I really appreciate you sharing your story, Wayne. You're amazing mentor, and as well as Lucy, and we're just happy to continue with this. Once a month we like to continue with holding grace, because, as I mentioned, when you really feel that field around you, and it's being in that space of loving yourself and feeling that grace around you, it's amazing how many you impact just from being in your presence. And it's amazing how much flow comes into your life with ease and effortlessness. So I
and I think that, sorry, I think that when you've got that, find what you love, and you're going for that purpose. It's funny, I've heard many quotes that once you decide for what you love and you go for it, and that's one of the steps I teach, is once you decide for what you love, the universal God will meet you. He will rush towards you, and that's grace, because everything starts to fall into place. Life gets easier because you're not fighting against the flow. When you are at ease, like I wasn't at ease. I had a great life, before my accident, but I wasn't at ease. I was constantly beating myself up in the head, constantly being, I was spread out over all areas, and you know, there was no grace, there was no serendipity. It was pushed, always pushed. And when I started to create vision, it started to just fall into place. And it was because that power that breathes us was meeting me more than halfway, and it is, you know. Occasionally I find myself in the old habit of pushing, and guess what? I get slapped. I get slapped, as I say, with a wet fish, and it's because I'm not in that grace. And there's a lot more to finding that grace, Sandy. You know, like, I've only given you a couple of the tools that I teach. So, you know, if anyone is interested in wanting to know more, I would love to give away 3 free strategy calls, which is half an hour where we get clear on where you are, what you would love to create, and then what would be the next best step towards their dream. And in that process, because we teach 10 principles, you learn to come across a system. Well, it's a system that just helps you be in that grace over and over again in any area of your life. So if someone is wanting that, I no doubt someone will put my details up, and yeah, even if you think it might be a couple of days later, please hit me up, because you never know what might open up. And yeah, would hate for you to miss out.
Yeah, and highly, knowing Wayne, absolutely highly recommended. It's a great offering for everyone. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for joining us as we continue to move forward with Holding Grace live events each month. Really appreciate you being here, sharing your story. You're very motivational, very inspirational. I know everyone will have much success working with you. So we will put all the details on the page, how to be in touch with you. This is a recorded event, so it'll be available live for many to see afterwards. So again, I would love just to thank everybody who's joined us live, and those who are watching us in the future. We appreciate you. Blessings to all. And we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Lucy.
Thank you.
I don't
Thank
see you,
you,
Lucy,
Wayne.
but thank you.
Thank you for you
Okay.
be here, be you. Because this week I start asking myself, no, I don't want to, putting my face here, because I still work with my communication. I still work with improving my English. But what I came for me, I need to be me. You know, I want to say thank you. You don't have your ability, but you be you. So thank you very much. You help a lot of people. That's beautiful, love. And sometimes I ask myself, I have traveling this year. When I come back home, I ask myself how I create more this. I have the course in the Taiwan. It's beautiful experience, but when I come back home, I say how I create more this for my life, you know. And then what I say for everybody, let's discover, let's be present here by now. Let's be open to receive grace, so you can experience this different level of joy. They are divine present for everybody inside your heart. I have divine present. You trust your heart. The more you connect with you, the more you know you. You don't worry too much, because my teacher said, when you worry too much, you start to smell too much smell. It's funny because she said the past is just memory. The future is your imagination. Only the present moment is real. So take a deep breath in the present. Be present here. Be present for your family, for your friends. Be you. When you are with Creator or Source, God, you are with grace. That's grace brings you bless every day, more and more, more and more. And what I say, hold more space in your heart, a big space in our heart, to feel this love, peace, grace, that is really connect the souls. Oh, your God. That means you will find the light there, the light. Yeah, thinking that one. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy. Beautiful. Appreciate that. Awesome. Way to close out here. So again, thanks everybody for hopping on, listening, and those listening in the future. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you again next month. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. One more thanks for everybody. And what I learned to look up. Doesn't matter what you, for your days, look up. For sky, for the sun, look up. Okay? Bye-bye. Love you all. Bless you all.